Hello and welcome to Motors for the Masses, and today we need you to use your imagination. Ooh. So let's roll the intro and get cracking.
Oh yeah, crack!
We were.
Standing the wrong side.
On one side of the island of Zontes, Mr. and Mrs. ZTU had a baby, and this was that chav.
On the other side of Zontes Island, Mr. and Mrs. G1 also had a baby, and this was that sprog.
Well, after many years of working too hard, Mr. and Mrs. ZTU decided they'd had enough, and they were going to get divorced before they ended up hating each other and deflating each other's tyres and things.
Mr. and Mrs. G1 also got divorced. I have no idea why.
Mr. G1 was a philandering scoundrel, that's why.
Ah, well, that clears that up then.
Well, after all that heartache and stuff, Mr. ZTU decided he needed a holiday.
As did Mrs. G1.
And as fate would have it, they met, went out for a drink. Several days later, Mrs. G1 was up the duff. The baffle split.
Indeed, and here is the result of that fateful yet wild and passionate night. We give to you the Zontes ZT125 U1.
Which, strangely enough, is what the doctor said when it was born. True story.
So what these guys are trying to say is this one is a mixture between that one and that one.
Yeah, what he said.
Roll the cinematic. Well, I think this is the best looking bike out of all three. And I actually think these bars and bungs actually suit this bike.
Really?
Yes, I do.
Lots of influence from the 310 series. The mirrors, the switchgear, foot pegs, alloy swing arm.
The electronic fuel cap, electronic seat release, and the keyless start.
Like its siblings, it also uses the same water-cooled Euro 5. Like its siblings, it also uses the same liquid-cooled Euro 5 four-stroke something with something else and some power, and has torque too. Like its siblings, it also uses a water-cooled four-stroke Euro 5 125 with 14.5 brake force. Like its siblings, it also uses the same water-cooled Euro 5 four-stroke single-cylinder 125 with 14.5 brake horsepower and 9.5 foot-pounds of torque.
Bosch EFI and 6-speed gearbox, which means, again, top speeds around 70 to 75 miles per hour, and realistic MPG is around 120 or 150 if the book is to be believed.
Like the G1 Scrambler, you get a 300mm front disc with upside down forks, and on the rear 230mm disc and a monoshock, and again using the Bosch ABS.
Also using the same 17-inch stainless steel spoked wheels and CST tubeless street scrambler tyres, you get a 110 on the front and a 130 back there on the rear.
Like the ZTU, under the electronic fuel cap lies the same 12.5 litre fuel tank and the same Phantom 250 style dash as the other ZT125s.
The switch gears are again backlit red, once the engine is running of course, with these very well made switches and controls for the seat and fuel cap releases. The engine off switch, also being keyless like the other ZT125U, but it does have the same pointless eco and sport mode button. Again, 125 probably just wants to be in sport all the time. But it does come with a 10 amp hour battery like the others, so plenty powerful enough. Where the ZTU has the fairing and the belly pan, because the U1 uses the same crash bars and bungs as the G1, they've gone with more of a utilitarian style fairing and belly pan-ish. Esque-ish thing. It's a mixture. New word. Shakespeare did it, why can't I? I think it works rather well.
The bike measures up at 2 metres long, 865mm wide and 1.1 metres tall, all very standard.
It also has an 800mm seat height, which is just 10mm larger than the ZTU. I think it's down to the knobbles on the tyres. But there you go.
The ZTU1 weighs in at just over 150 kilos.
Which is not actually that bad. Yes, okay, it's heavier than some 125s. I'd say the average weight is between 120 and 140 kilos for most 125s, but you do get some, like the Hyosung Aquila, which is 165 kilos. But this just seems, I think it shows with 150 kilos just how...
It means robust.
Yes, equal claw. I don't know what that was.
You get the same bright LED front light and indicators as found on the ZTU.
However, the front end design is slightly different because, unlike the ZTU, you get this higher level front mudguard and a lower level mudguard as well, which only goes around the back. You don't need it at the front because you've got this one, but it also incorporates these fork leg shields. Very nice touch, and they're pretty sturdy, even though they're plastic. It's pretty sturdy and it certainly does the job. And that sort of incorporates these cables quite nicely as well. Very nicely designed and laid out, I feel. So whilst we're still at the front, I just want to mention about this. Now, I know some people don't like this, but I really, really do. I think it looks uber cool.
I don't like it.
You don't like it? Why do you like it?
It's just too angular.
No, that's what I like about it. It's menacing, but mean and small and compact, and I like this design. And now they've incorporated these, so now we know what the holes are for. Obviously on these we knew anyway, but you know what I mean. And I think these guards, again, very sturdy, and they're certainly going to protect the levers and the mirror stalks, which, let's be honest, if a bike goes down, this and those are the first things to break. Really, really do like that, and I think it finishes off the whole front end. Fantastic looking.
And a certain amount of wind deflection for your hands as well.
That too. So where the rear lights are like that off the ZTU,
the rear number plate holder is like that found on the 310 series.
The ZTU1 boasts a 215mm ground clearance, so it's time to take it out on and off-road. And as Zontes bought this bike up to us especially built for press use, I think it's time to have some fun. the famous philosophers, I am back. So, as usual, I'll get my gear off and we'll have a chat. So, what were the thoughts on this? Well, before I start, Malcolm did ask me to mention that when he rode it, he thought it rode beautifully. However, out of the three, he does prefer the G1 Scrambler. I'll tell you my verdict at the end of this little discussion. But riding, well, I have to say, because the bike is a press bike and it's done 50 miles already, it's a little bit run in. So even though it's only done 50 miles, it rides so much better than a bike that's done no miles, obviously. But what I mean is you can open up a bit more, you can feel the revs better, you can feel how it pulls a lot quicker than a bike that's brand new. Again, that's obvious. It's going to happen, but it's nice to feel that because then you know the potential of the bike rather than initially that's what it does. And I'm really pleased, really very pleased. It pulls nicely. Like I said, it's not a lightning rod, but don't forget it's a 125. So for a 125, that's pretty quick. It gets up to speed nicely, very smooth. That gear change, lovely. Up through the gears, up to 6th. Very nice indeed. No issues with that whatsoever. I like these and they do provide some wind protection. My hands, I have got warm gloves anyway, but my hands not once got even a little bit cold, no breeze on them. They really do the job nicely. However, in this area, I have to point out, and I don't know when manufacturers are actually going to listen to any of this, but the mirrors, again, stalks are too short. I can see half an arm, half a road, and I'm finding myself having to do that to see properly. Now, I admit you have to look, and it's not just eyes, but ahead, fine, but actually physically move to see. It's really annoying, and it's not just Zontes, it's so many manufacturers. They get it wrong with the mirrors. The stalks just aren't long enough. All it needs is another inch, and that's it. It's all it needs. One of these days, someone's going to listen. But anyway, other than that, the ride, fantastic. I love the mix of the off-road tyres. As you can see there, I had it off-road, on-road, no qualms whatsoever. No slippage. Of course, there was mud, so there was a little bit of slippage, but nothing to write home about, nothing to be concerned about. It's just fun. I didn't actually take the ABS off because I felt I didn't need to. In fact, I don't even know if the ABS can be turned off on this. There isn't an ABS, but oh, yes, there is ABS button, yes. So I can turn the ABS off if I want to. But no, I didn't want to. And I'm not going to tell you how to do it because you shouldn't. So yeah, I've got no real issues with it whatsoever. Must have been something I didn't like, apart from the mirrors. No, even the riding position. The riding position was really, really nice. And I think I actually prefer this over the G1. Now, I really like that G1. I love the ZTU, love the look of it. But for me, it's a bit too young. This is a great mixture of the two. And this would be the bike I would go for out of the three. I can't fault it in any way. The tyres are great. It feels fantastic on the road. The knobbles do not get in the way because they're sort of street scrambler tyres, so there's no issues with that. All the switches, so simple to use and very positive flicking. So there's no worries about leaving the indicators on because it clunk, you know it's off. Clunk, you know it's in. I love the way it feels. These nice grips, very easy, very ergonomically. What's the word I'm looking for? Positioned, I guess. The seat, very comfortable. Gel seat, very comfortable indeed. Comfortable. Sorry, it's cold outside. And my hands are still warm. See, they do their job. And the gloves help. The crash bungs didn't really get in the way. It wasn't really an issue. I don't think they look too bad on here. Personally, if this was my bike, I would still probably want to see that bit cut off and the end on there, and that's it. But again, personal choice. The best thing about it is you can take them off if you want to. I didn't think it needed it. I love the grills around here like they have on the Scrambler. This is a nice high position. I didn't get covered in any wetness whatsoever. And I went through a few puddles and I'm still quite dry. I mean, I've got a little bit of mud and dirt on my trousers and boots, but nothing major. It doesn't really pick up on there, but there is quite a bit of mud splattered, especially under there. Sorry. But I'll clean it before it goes back. But yeah, or Jamie will clean it before it goes back. He likes cleaning bikes, especially mine. Anyway, yeah, so I've got no problems. Even in the dusk, I could see the beam of the light, which is quite impressive. Usually when it's dusk, you don't tend to see the beam of the light. And it's very bright, very clear, very easy to see with. What else can I say? Brakes. Now the brakes again are bed in, because it's now done 60 odd miles. It is fantastic. The ABS is superb. Now on the muddy stuff, I tried it just using the front brake, and you can feel them blum 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 as it pulls you down. There was no worries about going skidding off or anything like that. Nothing whatsoever. The brakes are absolutely superb, and the ABS works really, really well. But let's be honest, it's a Bosch ABS system, so you shouldn't expect anything less. And that is really all I've got to say about it. I don't have anything negative about the ride. It's comfortable, it's smooth, it's quick enough, it's very easy to use, very nimble, feels very safe and feels very solid. And that, I think, is where I will leave this little section. We spoke about competitors in previous videos, so I don't think we need to bother discussing that again. But I have to say, I think personally, this is the best looking and best riding bike out of the three.
And priced at £3,099, same price as the G1, it's superb value.
Absolutely. Now, I feel they're really up their game. We've said that with the other two. And I believe if that had a Kawasaki badge on there, this would be £4,500.
There are two choices of colours, either the same orange as the ZTU, or this lovely black and yellowy green. So let us know your thoughts. Leave letters and words in the comments section below.
Letters and words? Maybe a few numbers if you want to put them in.
Yeah, why not?
If you think there's any other alternative, like we've said in the other videos, let us know in the comments section below as well. I think it's a fantastic looking bike, fantastic value. I really enjoyed riding it, and I think it looks absolutely stunning, and the build quality is brilliant. I really do feel that. So that brings us to the end of this episode of Motors for the Masses. Thank you very much for joining us. If you have one of these, let us know what your thoughts are on it, or if you've ridden one at least, let us know that too. And we'll be back next time with other bikes. We've got a road test of the ZT125, the new 19-inch version, and we've got the Fantic Caballero 500 Scrambler Deluxe coming as well. And of course we've got the finished video of the NTV. Yes, it's going to be done. And we've got a little Christmas message coming up as well, so watch out for that. And that's all we've got time for, so until next time, please ride and drive carefully.
But have fun.
Bye-bye.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.
Oh God, you have to ruin it every time with something else on the end, don't you?
Always forget that bit.
I have the last word. I'm the last word. Me.
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 Me.